In the tapestry of life, where every thread holds a story, America in Black and White emerges as a haven for the voices echoing through the heart of our communities. In this podcast, we wade through the rivers of our collective experiences, celebrating the vibrant hues of change brought forth by the whispers of hope and the roars of action. It's more than just a conversation. It's a journey into the heart of our society, illuminated by the light of those daring to dream and do. Join us, and let your voice be the melody that guides us toward a dawn where every color finds its place in the masterpiece of our shared destiny. Together, let's paint a future brimming with the positives that dwell in our minds and the
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a special edition of America in Black and White on this wonderful Saturday afternoon. Today, our special guest is Mr. Marcus Meneese. Marcus Meneese is the founder and executive director of Stronger Than My Father Incorporated, a 501c3 nonprofit organization established in 2013 to uplift youth and families through education, inspiration, and transformative support. Rooted in faith and purpose, the organization's mission is to build thriving communities where individuals discover and fulfill their God given potential. With over 22 years of experience as a youth mentor, Marcus has dedicated his life to coaching and developing young people into responsible adults and nurturing parents, empowering them to become stronger than their fathers. His work is a testament to generational healing, leadership development, and the power of intentional mentorship. A proud Nashville native, Marcus earned his Bachelor of Science in Psychology from Tennessee State University and later received his Master's in Organizational Leadership from Trevecca Nazarene University. He and his wife Latoya are proud parents of two sons, continuing the legacy of love, leadership, and faith within their own home. Marcus's journey reflects a deep commitment to legacy building, community transformation, and spiritual purpose, anchored in the belief that every child deserves guidance, opportunity, and hope. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Marcus Meneese. Hello, sir.
Hey, good afternoon.
How are
And
you?
doing great, doing great. We just finished up a mentorship session, so was looking forward to today's podcast and delving into whatever you want to delve into.
Well, I appreciate you joining us. And is there anything you'd like to add to your bio before we jump into the show?
No, no, you said everything that who I am and what I'm passionate about doing. A great bio. I'm sitting here listening. I couldn't believe I've done all the things that you said. So, no, nothing to add to the bio.
Okay. Well, let's start first. I wanna start with with your origins and purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us, take us back to what inspired the name Stronger Than My Father?
Uh, I already began mentoring in 2003. I was mentoring my cousin who was growing up without his father. And 10 years later, or 9 years later, my son had a sweater that my wife bought called Strong Like Dad. And one day I was putting a sweater on him, and God just said, Stronger than my father. So I kind of stopped in my tracks and I wrote the words down. I wrote Stronger Than My Father down, and I was like, what am I going to do with this? Am I going to speak just on fatherhood or do something about the problem? So that's where the name comes from. And because I grew up in a middle class family, I had to research what fatherhood was about and what are the problems that's going on in America with fatherhood. So that's where the name came from. It came from God, came from my son's shirt that says strong like that.
So, can you tell us, so what inspired you to use that name as your podcast?
I wanted to use it as a way to continue to open people's eyes about fatherhood. Um, I want people to realize that the average common day person may struggle with fatherhood because it may affect with their everyday lives, how they deal with marriage or how they deal with relationships, how they deal with just the individual that they are. So the guests that I interview on my podcast has been affected either positively or negatively around centered around fatherhood. So every episode is centered around fatherhood. So I've interviewed single moms to say, what are some of the things that you had to endure, and how have you championed yourself to be able to take care of your child without a male figure in the home. And I've interviewed males who still struggle with not growing up with their father. They pretty much, I always say, they just kind of hide it and put it to the back burner because they still have to live life. But sometimes those issues pop up when it comes down to decision making, and not having their father figure around. So I base my life and my choices centered around my parents and basically my father, what he put inside of me to do as a dad and as a father. So any guest I interview, I always push, the first question I ask is, what fatherhood mean to you? And you will be amazed how many people it stops in their tracks when I say that, because they have to go back and reminisce what kind of parent I have, especially when you're in your 40s and 50s. Sometimes you're not thinking about it until Father's Day come around. So that's what I decided to do the podcast, because I grew up middle class around my family. I really didn't know what a lot of people went through without not having a father around. I just didn't know, man. I have episodes where people talk about abuse and stuff like that. The anger that they still feel inside because their dad's not there. Some men I've seen cry at the beginning of the podcast because the thing that I do when I'm recording is that I'm bringing up old memories. And a lot of people don't like doing that, but I'm bringing it up so America can see that when the father piece is not in the home, there are struggles with individuals because it's not natural to grow up without your dad.
Well, this is a two-part question here. What is the main purpose or the premise of your show when you open these individuals up to talk about these things that are so traumatic in their lives? And are most of these guys of the African persuasion, or is it just a mixed group of guys that do this?
Okay, first part, I did this to open up people's eyes to see that people are affected when the father's not in the home. People are affected, either good or bad. They are affected when dad is not there, because a lot of them ask the question, why does my father want me? Why did my father don't want to be there for me? You have grown people that still ask that question. I've had white people and black on my podcast. I had a white guy who was angry to this day. He said he struggled with just having a normal relationship because he says, I don't know how to have a normal relationship because I didn't have a father figure in the home to show me the example. Who was the example for me to be a good father? So they talk about that. And I just want people to be aware of this issue. So when you see men struggling or fathers struggling, a lot of them are struggling because they never had the example at home to be able to see what it takes to be a dad. I saw the example at home. I saw a loving father. So when I became a husband and a father, what did I do? I did the same thing that my dad did. And that's what most guys are going to do. So if they saw abuse growing up in the home, probably 9 out of 10, they're going to do the same thing, because everything is about exposure and what you see. And so I just try to interview anybody who wants to sit down and have a normal conversation about fatherhood. So I had white, black, men, women. I pull you to, answer these questions because I want people to, when they're hearing this podcast, I want them to really realize that most everyday kind of people, if you're not going out of that, are still struggling. And that's why men like, Ray Lewis. Anytime you hear Ray Lewis, he's always talking about his dad not being there. And Ray Lewis is 40 now. He's 50 now. But he still talks about it because it still bothers him. It still bothers you when your dad is not there. It's a long-lasting effect that lasts pretty much all your life, because you're sitting there, because you'll see other people having their mom and dad and love and have a good time. And you'll sit there and say, man, why wasn't my dad there for me? And then you'll start building up. If you don't get around the right mentors, the right people, you're going to start building up anger, resentment, all those things. That those angers can take you all kind of avenues. And that's why you see the things that you see on television. And a lot of it, if you look back to this and you sit down and talk to that individual, it stems back from my dad not being there to lead and guide me.
Mm, wow. So, what was your relationship with your father like growing up?
Man, if I could say the word perfect, I would. My father was old school, grew up in the country. He was groomed by his dad. And so my dad was always being a teacher. He always taught me and my brothers how to survive and how to make it. My dad didn't talk a lot, so we just watched him. And my dad's 75, still living, still moving around, and I'm thankful for it. But he taught me everything that I know about fatherhood and manhood. He taught me everything that he taught me. And so I'm proud to say there was another man that taught me much about fatherhood outside of my dad. And so we have a great loving relationship. I treasure that. And the work that I do makes me appreciate my dad even more. It makes me appreciate that I'm truly thankful that I had a good dad. I still have a good dad, and I'm thankful. So we have a great, great relationship. I can call him anytime. And now I see myself in him when I'm raising my two sons. I see myself saying some of the same phrases that my dad has said because I was raised with a good, loving father.
Wow. Now, I think the one thing that, that you mentioned that was so pertinent about this is the fact that, the relationship that you and your father had. And so some of the things that he did, how it rubbed off on you. Can you tell our audience, like, what are some of those things that your father did that basically has guided you and pointed you in the direction that you're in right now, that you're being so influential to these other young men right now today?
Well, this probably will shock you. It wasn't my dad, it was my mom who put me into the work that I was doing. My dad was a laborer, he was a worker. Dad didn't hardly ever volunteer for anything. But my mother was the one who asked me to mentor my cousin. But what I told my mom, I told my mom, I'm not a mentor. I hasn't been trained to be a mentor. And she says, you love to teach, so teach him what your daddy taught you.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's how I started mentoring. So everything I do is I teach them about what my dad taught me. Like I have boys in my program that I fuss about sagging your pants. Well, my dad told us you can't sag your pants. And so he told us in a threatening way that if you sag your pants, you go into school in your underwear. So we knew, me and my brothers took my daddy threats for real. But my dad taught me great examples. Like if I could write a book, he taught me about how to set the tone in your house. He says, when you come home from work, whatever problems you're dealing with, leave them in the garage.
Mm.
Come into your house as a loving father. When I come into my house, my kids are running to the garage saying, Daddy here. When my wife comes home, everybody's excited when we all come home. Instead of my kids running and hiding because I don't never come in and say, I've had a bad day. Leave me alone. Give me 10 minutes to myself. My dad said, sit in the garage a few minutes. If you need time to yourself, sit in that garage. But when you open that door and you walk through that house, your kids see a house of peace. And that's what my dad taught me. And then he taught me other values about, if you and your wife is got a deep argument, don't do all that fussing on your kids. Do it privately. But then if you need to sit down with your children, you tell them what's going on. But because my dad always says, your sons are always watching you. Your sons are always watching. If I go through the house cussing, what do you think my kids going to do?
Yeah, especially you got young boys.
Yeah, my boys are 10 and 16. Their brains are like sponges.
Right.
So anytime I come home, my oldest son, look, he does everything just like me.
Mm-hmm.
What was my husband that beat my wife because I didn't like how she cooked something?
Right.
Then you cook it. Yeah. So my dad told me, he said, son, if you get home before your wife, you make sure dinner's ready. Don't wait till your wife come home and you sitting on the couch not doing nothing. He said, you get in that kitchen and you cook. And so when your wife come home, she has a nice meal waiting for her. Those are things he taught me. So I've been doing that, guys. 24 years I've been married. My wife, I call all the time saying, what you want for dinner? Because I get home from work before she does. Mm-hmm. So why should I wait till she come home at 7 o'clock to try to make dinner when I've been home since 4:30? That doesn't make sense. My
No.
mama been home since 4:30. You could cook, DoorDash, all these things. But when my wife comes home, she's had a hard day just like I've had a hard day. Why can't she come home, go to the kitchen, get a meal, and enjoy a meal, watch some television, and go to bed? Isn't that peaceful?
Exactly.
No drama. No
Exactly.
drama in the house. So that's the things that my dad taught me. And to this day, I still hold on to those values.
How did your upbringing in Nashville shape your mission?
My upbringing, like I said, it was very sheltered. We grew up not seeing a lot of bad stuff. We didn't know a lot of bad things were going on in this world because our parents really kind of hid it. They hid us from all those things. So growing up in Nashville, like I said, I didn't really have the mentor that I felt like I needed growing up. Someone that can kind of tell me how to handle life out of high school. I didn't have that. My dad was just like work, work, work. And so, I never found purpose. It took me, I graduated high school in 94. It took me to 03 to really find out. And it was what mentorship is what I need to do with my life. But Nashville is a great place to live, great high school, great schools and stuff like that. So Nashville shaped me, man. I've been here all my life. Love Nashville has changed in the past probably 10, 15 years because now it's booming. But being around, some great individuals, have a great church and just great individuals really shaped my life. But it all centered around my daddy. Everything centers around who I am is my dad. But Nashville is a great place to live. Met some great individuals who live here in Nashville. But it shaped me who I am. I can still move now. I'll move, but my wife says she ain't coming with me. So I moved to Atlanta. You tell me one time I got an opportunity in Atlanta, I'll be on the U-Haul first thing tomorrow gone. But my wife said, you going by yourself because she said, I'm not moving. So, yeah. But Nashville shaped me who I am to this day.
So, what moment made you realize youth mentorship was your calling?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. It's something that I love to teach. I really love to teach. Teaching is really what my calling is. I love to teach and train and motivate. I love that. And using that to help a kid who I can see that has full potential and you can teach him to have a better life is what I enjoy doing. I tried to dab in other type of careers, but it didn't have fulfillment or purpose. So once I started mentoring and trying to teach and train young men, I fell in love with it. And I've been doing it for 25 years of my life. Basically, half of my life has been a mentorship. But I realized that's the avenue I need to go because God has people in all kind of careers. But there's few careers where you really sit back and serve and help people. And so God said, that's what you're going to do, Marcus. And he told me that years ago when I was trying to go into other careers. And I was working in this aircraft factory, which I loved the money, but I didn't like the work. But God says, I get you out of here if you serve the fatherless. If you serve my boys and put them in the best position, I get you out. And I left the factory nearly 7 years ago. And I've been working strong with my father through the ups and downs for those many years. But I feel like teaching these young men, like we taught today, we taught skills on how to record your own podcast, basically what we're doing today, and introducing them to a new skill. And I'm in there training them, talking them, beating them down, saying, hey, you need to learn how to do it this way, this way. And I'm sitting back saying, I really enjoy this. And I think that's when you know that's what God has brought you and that's where you're called to. And so teaching and training these boys to give them an opportunity. So one day I could sit back and say, you know what, I had a hand in helping him get to where he went. That's how I really feel like my calling in really my life is teaching.
So why do you believe God-given purpose? Why do you believe God-given purpose is central to your work?
Because God, just what I believe. I feel like God has given everybody a purpose to be on this earth. That's why you still wake up every day and you keep moving. You have a purpose and a job to do on this earth for God. It could be through medicine. You could be a doctor, but that's your gift. Your gift is to go help save people's lives. People who does, all kind of different careers could be your gift that God is putting you to go ahead and do. Now, some people take jobs because they need the money, but there's a very few people who really lives out the purpose they has for them. And some people find their purpose late in life. Some people find it early. But I truly believe that every day you wake up, you have a purpose to be on this earth. And my whole purpose, I think for many people, is just to serve. Go help somebody. And, you know, there are people who has gifts, cooking. People, I know my sister is an excellent cook, but she started her career in marketing at Nissan. But because she had cancer, it turned her to do her purpose, which was always cooking. And now she has a thriving YouTube page, and she loves cooking, and that's what her passion, her purpose is. So I think that if you pursue God and ask God, what you want me to do on this earth? And that's why I think you start finding your passion. That's what I mean by God-given purpose. That means that God wants you to do this on this earth. And I feel like God has asked me to mentor on this earth. I had a whole different career lineup of what I wanted to do when I graduated high school. I wanted to be a training and development specialist. That's what I always wanted to do. Not Strong and My Father was never on the radar. It was just going to be like a side thing that I was going to do. But my career was traveling and doing other things I saw other people doing because it looked so good. But God says, I need you, Marcus. You've been called to serve these young men because you can teach them something that they never had. Even though I grew up in a great middle-class house. My parents been married nearly 54 years. God called me to train and teach these young men how to be productive young men where they don't have to go to juvenile. They don't have to go to jail. So you teach them skills that's going to help them from there. And then you be there because these boys are still yearning. They're yearning for that father figure. And that's why gangs are so prevalent. You know, alternative families, because they're going, what are they doing? They're teaching them bad stuff. So I says, what can you do to teach them good things? So I want our young men to learn how to serve and how to help, and I teach them that. And I feel like everybody has a calling on their lives to do something. And and that's why God wakes you up every morning. When he's done, he's going to take you home. So when God's done with me, I'm going home. So that's why death never bothered me. I said, I'm going to work until God take me home. My purpose is on this earth has been completed. My purpose right now is to serve these young men and give them a better life and teach them a different way. They already learning how to cuss and sag their pants and everything else, but won't you teach them a different way? And young boys need that now more than ever. So that's why I feel like everybody has a calling. Everybody has a calling. You just got to find it, and you got to seek God and ask God, what am I supposed to be doing on this earth to please you? And that's what I do with my life.
Oh, wow. So how did your time at Tennessee State University influence your path?
When I went to Tennessee State, I studied psychology. And because I was introduced to fatherhood at 27, I started researching fatherhood. Why aren't fathers there for their kids? And why are fathers not, why is the statistic so high? Because I went to Tennessee State in my early 30s. I was already, a bit mature and going on. So I just used that time to really study. So TSU, I didn't really get involved in a lot of stuff at TSU because I was a father. My whole focus was to get that degree and get out of there. So I didn't do a lot, but what I done at TSU, I spent time in the library researching. We didn't have some of the fancy stuff we have now to research now. Back in 2009, we didn't have the Chat GPT and all those things now that I use for research. So I had to pick up books. I picked up books and I stayed in the library and I read and I was writing these things. And I was like, wow, look at the percentage of fathers that are not there for their kids. That's why their kids have these problems, because their dad is not there. The dad ain't leading because this is what God had designed. So I used this time at Tennessee State to really develop me. It was an eye-opener to see, young kids who didn't really care about their education. They cared more about texting and stuff like that. I went to school, but again, I was 34 years old when I was at Tennessee State. So, but I went there because a lot of my friends went there, and I wanted to be like them. So, when I finished National State Tech with my 2-year degree in psychology, I said, well, I'm just going to go to Tennessee State. So I appreciate the school. But like I said, I wish I'd have did it when I was younger, but I wasn't mature. And that's why I teach, because these boys you have to be really mature when you first go off to college and everything else. You have to have training, because right now distractions are tearing up our kids today. And with cell phones and everything else, you easily can become distracted. So I just see kids in class texting and stuff like that. And these professors did not care. One professor, he told the class, when I come in, I'm going to tell you to open the book. If you text, I don't care. I'm going to give you my test. If you fail, don't come bother me. And he told straight like that. So I saw kids texting and stuff, and I never said a word. I just said, look, I come to class, I'm here for this degree. I ain't here to socialize, go to parties. I'm married. I got a son. What do I need to go party for? You know, I'm a father. So I had to be, even then I had to be disciplined, because men can easily get distracted by women and stuff like that, man. And, you could be very distracted and just get off course. And I realized that even with me, some feelings start coming like, man, you got to live your life like you was in college. And I was like, heck no, I'm 30 some years old. I ain't going to no parties and all that other stuff and hang out. I didn't, but I use that as Tennessee says, a way just to develop me and really to just research fatherhood. And that's what led me to the work that I was doing now. Is that I did a lot of research. Papers and stuff on the computers that I was just like blown away of, just things that I just didn't know about fatherhood that opened my eyes. But that's what I did at Tennessee State.
So, the one thing that you mentioned when you were talking about the distractions and the younger people, I can agree with you 500% about that, because when I went to grad school, of course, I was much older than you were when you went to Tennessee State.
Okay.
And so when I went to grad school, the one thing that I noticed, as you're talking about with the younger people, is that they're like doing some of everything.
Yeah.
So when they were doing that, and I'm quite sure they didn't quite understand, but I was like giving little messages every day. And so I was saying to some of them, I said, well, thank you for this opportunity. And they will look, I'm like, yeah, see, this is about you, but you letting it be about me. So I'm sure your parents will be highly, highly upset, if you don't actually do what you're supposed to do and not just pass this course, but get this degree. And, I guess over a period of time, I think they start to think about that, but, they're like, you're right. It's really easy to be distracted, but I will say that, unless, you've got somebody like yourself when you were in class, to kind of like, sit there, be disciplined, and have them get that opportunity to learn while you just sitting there and doing what you're doing, that it kind of like gives off its own message.
And I agree with that. I teach my boys. I've made mistakes because I was distracted. And that's the thing that I realized a lot that messed a lot of kids up. I was, after this session, I had to take this kid back to his church. And as we was driving, I told him, I said, you see how this car cut in front of me? And I said, but if I was on my cell phone trying to see what's going on, I would have hit him. So I says that anytime I'm driving and everything you do, discipline is so critical. And I know we have an itch, I don't know what's in these cell phones that make people just feel like they got to look at it while they're driving. And so, but I taught him, I drive a high performance car, which is a Charger. But anytime I get in it, I have to be disciplined. Even though I want to ram it and run it fast and stuff like that, I tell the boys in my program, discipline is what kept me from tearing my car up. So anything in your life, marriage and everything else, people, marriage is not hard. It's just everything's disciplined. If you're going to be disciplined when you see a beautiful woman walk past you, can you be disciplined enough not to say, you know what, I'm going to mess with her even though I'm married? Because I don't think people realize that when you have children and you have infidelity in marriages, it affects your children. And that stuff can last generations, because it's going to keep just repeating the cycle. And so that's why I've always tried in my 49 years is to be disciplined. Well, my wife ain't got to worry where I'm at all the time. She don't have to worry and say, Marcus going out with this woman, he doing this and that, because she knows that I try to live my life disciplined. Because again, with undergrad psychology, I've watched people for years. I watched how people operate. I watch how when people have infidelity, what goes on, the destruction and all that stuff. So why do I want to put anybody, my wife, through that when I don't have to? So that's why I say discipline is so important. And I think that we need to teach that more. I think we need to teach that more in churches. When Black people are sitting there every Sunday, I've very rarely heard a message on the power of being disciplined. It's a power if you can be disciplined enough to make good decisions and avoid some of the major consequences. But I know that's not popular in churches today. But I think that's so important for a dad to understand that when you're disciplined, look where your kids can go. My father was very disciplined. Now, he had some shortcomings. He loved to smoke and stuff like that. But when it came to taking care of his family, very disciplined. I never seen my father cuss my mama out and call all kind of names. I've never seen that. I never seen my father put his hands on my mother. So what have I done since I've been married? I've never called my wife a name. I never cussed her out or beat her up because I'm gonna probably get killed. My wife from Detroit, she probably shoot me. So why would I take that chance? But that's what I teach, man. It may not be popular, but it's the truth. And discipline is important. Discipline over your finances and all those things. Those things are important, especially in this day and age. You better find a way to be disciplined. Get off Amazon and don't buy this. Just be disciplined, because as a dad, my job is to be able to ensure my family can be in good position. And then my kids can live on when I'm gone. They can say, you know what, look what dad put in me to be able to be disciplined in these things. So that's what I teach my sons. I teach my boys this. I teach them when you at school, somebody offer you something, what are you going to be? And they're all screaming, you're going to be disciplined. I said, because I bet I get a call that you're doing something wrong, those things. But that's what I've learned in most of my life from school and everything else, is just try my best to be disciplined.
What lessons from your psychology background do you apply daily?
Discipline. Discipline is the biggest thing that I apply to my life, because I understand how critical it is. I mean, just with health, I'm trying to walk more and exercise more, play a little golf more. I was playing yesterday, and I was frustrated how I was playing. And I was like, okay, Marcus, you got to go back to your fundamentals. You got to be disciplined. You can't go up there and do this and that. So psychology, I don't think psychology is messes with the mind. So you got to understand how the mind works. The mind is always moving with the mind. So I've used that tool to help me with my discipline. It helped me understand how people operate. It's helped me in those different areas, and it's very key. So I'm thankful that I took psychology, even though you can't make no money out of it. I'm thankful that I took psychology.
What does thriving community look like to you in practice?
I think that you see a community that can move forward and understand a place where you can raise your kids the right way. I know it's probably not the logical thing, and a place where people can make it and not struggle as much is why I see a thriving community. I think that if you can have a community that can come to classes to be taught different things that can help them thrive more. That's why I want to use this program for as a way of teaching. That's what I kind of see in my head. I know you're never going to get a perfect community. It's not going to be perfect. I understand how communities work from economic levels. The higher the economics, you walk in the community, you think it's heaven. And then the poor communities, you like, can I get out of here and can I survive? But I think the communities at the bottom, if they're open to learning and teaching, of saying you ain't got to stay in this predicament the rest of your life, then if people are always open to that, I think you can start building a thriving community. But people have to be open to learning and teaching and be open to that. So that's kind of why I look at it as a thriving community.
So as you're doing this interview, and our audience is actually checking this whole interview and they're loving this interview, what do you want our audience to know about Marcus Meneese?
I think that if I died tomorrow, I want to say that I used my life to serve others. I dedicated my life for service. And it wasn't all my accolades and television appearance and all that. I don't think none of us about that. It's not about me. It's about serving. It's about helping others. So that's what I told my wife. I want on my tombstone if I die, just Marcus serve. I don't need all the extra hoopla at no funeral. I live my life to serve these young men and hopefully let them have a sense of what it of a feel of a father figure. That's what my program is called Stronger Sons. I want them to have a sense of a feeling of a dad. So that's why I call each young man, hey son, how you doing? So, but for Marcus, Meneese, if I died tomorrow, I just want my life to say that I blessed others and I sacrificed my life to help other kids have a better life.
So let's talk a little bit about, let's dive a little bit deeper into your mentorship and youth
Yeah.
development.
Mm-hmm.
What are the biggest challenges young men face today?
I think peer pressure is the biggest thing they face because with the ages of cell phones give you a pre-image or a false image of what you should be. And young men, if you don't have a stern father that's watching your phone, then what's going to happen is you're going to go to those peer pressures. You're going to start looking like the things that you see on social media because if a father doesn't tell a son how he should look, how's he going to know? It's because they're going to see what the cell phone tells them. So I think that's the biggest thing that, in hurting young people is the cell phones. I think cell phones, drugs, and peer pressure is one of the three things that I feel like that's hurting young people. And that we're not having strong parents that's always in your life, that's always continue to watch everything you do. Your child could go easily left. And that's why, my oldest son has a cell phone. Like I guard him like a watchdog. And I said, if you sneak and do anything wrong, you won't have a cell phone until you turn 18. Then you're gonna buy your own one. I ain't buying you nothing. I said, you get a little flip phone, that's it. So I think that's the biggest thing. I think, lack of discipline is it's the things that I see a lot, just lack of discipline. Why would you go out there and steal a car? Like why? So you can ask a young kid why, they're gonna shrug their shoulders and say, I don't know. But for some reason, it gets in the thoughts gets in their mind, they go steal a car, and then you go out here and do something crazy. But I think discipline, those things are really hurting young men today. Young people. I've been around young men in school and everything else, and I've asked these same questions you asking me, but because they go to a rough home life, that's really affecting a lot of kids, man. It's affecting them really bad. When mama's struggling and stuff like that, and she's cussing or she's going off, and you're absorbing all that in your brain, you're absorbing all those things in your brain, then you start looking at other things and stuff like that, and it's just really no structure to help keep you in line. And I know this is some old school teaching, but that's what's hurting young people, young men. That's what's hurting them to this day. And I see it every day that I work with these young men. They just, it's tough. It's tough when you, as a young kid, hearing a whole lot of different things, negativity, it's hard. And so it's hard for me sometimes, a mentor, to try to break them down and teach them the right way. That's why parents call me and say, hey, let Marcus work with your kid, because I'm going to try to teach them the right way.
How do you build trust with youth who've experienced trauma?
Consistency. Consistency is the key of mentorship. When you are there for that young man 90% of the time, you're going to build that trust in that kid. I got a kid now who's I met when he was in, I think, fourth or fifth grade. Now he's in eighth grade, and I go to his home basketball games. I text him. I said, look, I'm going to all your home basketball games. When you look up in the stands, you're going to see me at your home game. That consistency helps that young man realize, yeah, I don't have my dad, but I do have a big brother. I have a male figure that's in my life. Every child desires that. That's how I build trust in my program, my young men. They know I show up at their school. If you acting up, I'm showing up. So consistency as a mentor is the key thing, not just something once every 3 months. We're going to come around the group and talk. No, my program meets twice a month. And we're about to open up every Tuesday and Thursday for tutoring and one-on-one support. So you're going to get as much support as you need if you put the work in. I tell kids all the time, I can never replace your father, but I will be close enough as a male figure that you can look up and see I do have some sense of a father figure in my life.
What's one success story that still moves you?
Great question. The first kid I mentored, 2013. Well, I would say really two, but the one that really resonated with me the most was the first young man I mentored. I had a baseball team from 2010 to 2012, but when I ended the baseball team, one kid said, "Can you be my mentor?" I said, "Sure." And I realized this kid had AB student, but his mom was a drug addict, and he lived in a middle class home for elementary and middle school and part of his high school. And then when his junior year, his mom says, "You got to move back home." So he went from poverty to from middle class to poverty, and it affected him. Well, I worked with him, helped him through high school. He got a presidential scholarship at Tennessee State University. But then the mom banned me for 6 months not to work with him. And so because he was underage, I couldn't work with him. So I had to lean on his wrestling coach to help with communication. But that young man graduated with honors, went to Tennessee State, became a Kappa, graduated in 4 years. But when he had his Kappa ceremony, who's in there hollering, "That's my baby"? Mama. There you go. Same mom bad about me working with her son is the same one that was there. But that young man graduated and was successful. We did a story on News Channel 4 about 2 years ago. And the first thing he said in the interview, I did whatever Mr. Marcus told me to do. And that young man is very successful, lives in Houston, is very successful to this day. That's probably the one that resonated most. And then I think my cousin, the first kid I ever mentored, he's like the first one. My mom told me to mentor him when he was 3.5 years old. And the first question I asked was, "Where's his daddy? Why are you asking me to talk to him?" And my mom said he doesn't have a father. And so it was kind of like a powder keg went off my head, like, crap, kids these days growing up without a dad. I didn't know it because 80% of my life I was with my dad. So how would I know other kids growing up without a dad? Because you assume every kid have a dad. Well, this young man grew up with his grandmother, which was my aunt. His grandmother died when he was in middle school. And she said, "Marcus, can you please make sure my grandson graduates high school?" And he graduated 7 years later. He was in middle school and his grandmom died. He graduated on time, spent some time in the military. Now he's working at the post office. I never call him his name, which is Dominique. I always say he's my son. So he texts me. I say, "Hey, son, how you doing?" So those are some of the small success stories. And we could be here for the next 2 hours for the stories I have from kids in my program. But the first of Marquise resonated with me the most because I spent a lot of time with him. Even when he lived there, man, we almost got shot at. That was a whole experience because I'd never been in gunfire before. I'm ducking behind my car, scared to death that I'm going to die. But I told my wife, if I would have got killed, you could say I died helping somebody. That's my life. I served. So those are some two of the success stories. And I've had other boys come through my program doing very well. One was, all of them been on my podcast. And they'll tell you, one kid said, "Man, you was like a superhero to me. You be fussing at your son and fussing at me at the same time." And so some of these boys in my program, like one watched me. He said, "Man, I watched how you treated your wife. I didn't know this kid in my program was watching that." He said, "I watched how you treated your wife. I watched because this kid never seen the perfect example at home. He never saw it. So he was like, through you, I can see what's the perfect example of what a man should be." And so that touched me when he said that on my podcast. And he said, he says, "Now I'm a dad and I want to teach some of the things that you taught me." So, when you have boys that come back and want to mentor in your program, it's like a full circle. Yes. But I tell those mentors, tell them what I taught you. And they was like, "Mr. Marcus is tough, but I tell you, he's going to be there for you." And so you stick with him in the program, Mr. Marcus is always there for you. You can always depend on him being there. So those really two, my cousin Dominique, who I love, he's just like my son. And then Marquise, he was a great kid, straight A student, just was living in a rough environment that he could not understand. So I had to train him how to handle his mom. I had to train him how to handle things at school. and he graduated with honors, went to Tennessee State, graduated in 4 years with a physical therapy degree. But he'll tell you, when we did the interview, he said it comes down to what Marcus told me, because I was on him very hard. I was on him about how he looked, his appearance, haircuts. I was just like old school with him. So those are things I've done to, for his two great success stories. My first one was Dominique, and my main man, Marquise.
So, how do you define responsible adulthood in your mentorship model?
Again, I teach them how to be disciplined on all different facets: finances, women, all those, drugs, alcohol. I teach them how to be disciplined, how to say no. And also I tell them the consequences. One thing I've done in my program, we write the problem and we write 10 potential consequences. So I tell them, when you're about to make a move, write down the positive and write down the negative. And if the negative outweigh the positive, you better not do it. That's what I teach them going into adulthood. That's what I was taught, is that we're all going to be tempted to do something wrong. We're all going to be tempted to do something wrong. But I will tell you that you're going to lose if you go down the wrong path. And you're going to be on the news for doing something wrong. And we've seen that what happened with the NBA players. They made a bad move. The temptation. But when you make a bad move, what happens? You're going to get exposed. So I tell boys, and I bring up examples. I pull up examples on the computer of kids who made bad moves. And I was like, do you want to go through this? Look what he's going through. Do you want to go through that? Because if you make that same move, you're going to go through that. So I'm encouraging you not to make that move. So that's the things I teach my boys as they go into adulthood, is make good decisions. The thing I write on the board is make good decisions and avoid the consequences. Make good decisions and avoid some of the major consequences out there. Because I teach them about my life as a married father. If I make this move as a married father, what's going to happen? And they have to know what's going to happen. That's what's going to show them about going into adulthood. I tell them those things. Then I bring in guests who teaches the same thing. I say, tell them what's positive, what's negative. And then that's what's going to help them into adulthood.
So, what role does faith play in your mentoring approach?
Oh, great question. A lot, because I never wanted to do this, what I'm doing now. And I still sometimes don't want to do it. After 20-something years, I don't want to do it. If I stopped tomorrow, it wouldn't bother me. But running a nonprofit is not an easy job.
No,
it's not. You're going to have people that's going to be your friend today and stab you in the back tomorrow. You're going to have that. And I had to learn that because it happened to me. And my faith in God has kept me running this program when there's no money in the account, when it's negative, and you still got to come in here and work. Prayer has been the biggest weapon in my life. Prayer and reading God's word has been the biggest weapon of keeping me together, because the temptation to run is always there. The temptation to look at this other job and forget this is always there. But then it goes back to your purpose. And what I've learned is that God has blessed my organization tremendously. I love going to the mailbox. Every time I go to the mailbox, I think it's going to be a check in there. And a lot of times I went to the mailbox here at my office, and there's a check for $5,000 unexpectedly. There's been a check for $4,000 unexpectedly. So God has been the biggest key factor of me continuing doing the work I'm doing, because the temptation to run and say, forget it, is always there. That temptation is on my shoulder every day I wake up and you ain't got no money and bill collectors are calling you, stuff like that. It's tough, but it's a tough business. But I've seen God do some miraculous things in this business. I've had some great years doing this business. I've had some tough years, but the tough years make you tougher, because tough times doesn't last all day, but strong people do.
Yes, they do. How do you train or support other mentors in your organization?
I don't really call them mentors. I call them coaches. I said everybody can coach a kid. Everybody has wisdom they can give a kid. So I encourage my mentors that whatever session we're doing, give them wisdom in that area. Like today, we're teaching how to record a podcast. And one of the mentors said, look, man, you got to learn how to have confidence in yourself. So he taught about confidence. And because some young people don't have confidence in themselves. So I train the mentors to follow along with me and jump in. And I tell them in advance of what we're going to be working on and what I need from them. And that's what's helped out a lot, so they don't come in blind. So usually every 2 weeks, I text who's coming, and whoever's coming, I give them the assignments, what I need for you to do, what I need you to teach on, research it, and come in and deliver and talk to our boys. And that's how I reached out to mentors. And I find, and I find guys who's passionate about what we're doing. And I say, hey, come on and be a coach. Like today, we had a guy doing DJ. He may not ever come back again, but he taught some boys some valuable knowledge about the world of being a DJ. So saying about, being disciplined at parties, you DJing and you can easily slide into doing some bad stuff. So that's what I kind of look for in mentors. And I just have them to teach, opportunities. But I say, man, you're not a mentor, you are a coach. Coach them up. Just like if you was coaching a basketball team, you coach them up. So that's what I look for in my mentors.
What's your take on the school to prison pipeline, and how do we disrupt it?
That's a great question. Man, you should have prepped me on that one. I just think it's because of a lack of family structure. Is number one. If you're living in poverty and no one's really helping you, and you can't read, if you have good parents at home, they're going to push you to read well. Mm-hmm. Read and comprehend. I push my boys to read a book before they pick up tablet and phone. They got to read and tell me what they've done with their homework when we get home, because I know they're itching to get on tablets and phones. No, put that up. We're going to work hour and a half, 2 hours on homework, and we're going to discuss what we have learned. How many people are not doing that now? How many people just get on the phone and not you doing that? You can stop the what was that school to prison pipeline? You can stop it, but it takes men stepping up, taking care of their family, and making sure their child can eat and everything else, and making sure they're in a good position. And you're sacrificing yourself as a parent to be sure I'm gonna make time for my kids to read, write, go to PTA or PTO meetings, get involved with the school. And you make sure your kids are in the best position educationally. That's how you stop the school to prison pipeline. I have 2 boys, 10 and 16. Neither one is heading to prison. Mm-hmm. So what pipeline is going? There ain't no pipeline stopping it, because me and my wife takes time to make sure our kids' homework are done and putting in the folders. We make time for that. And if you don't make time for that, then yeah, it's going to happen. And you can't blame the school, and you cannot blame the schools all the time. How much time are you putting in your child's homework in the afternoons when you get home? Make time. If you can make time to get on social media, you can make time for your kids' homework. Make time for your kids' homework.
Now, let me put this in context for you, and let's see if I think you probably need to see that a little bit different, because that's like a black and white answer, which I don't think nobody can argue with what you just stated.
Yeah.
But now, when you think about the status as to already from an education perspective, with especially when you're in underserved communities where those schools are definitely under-resourced, mm-hmm. A lot of those kids and families are not 2-parent homes. Mm-hmm. And so if they're already starting behind because there's a lack of 1,000,001 resources that mm-hmm. can always make things a little bit better, because it's already set up, regardless of the case of 2 parents or single parent homes, that this starts automatically when your child first goes to preschool. That's already set up. The prison to school pipeline, that's already set up. That does not mean that every child is going to fall into that situation, but they track you from that point all the way through the education system. And so primarily what that means is with them having that opportunity to say, hey, if this child, now this is probably one of those kids that you're speaking of, this child that seems like he's got disciplinary problems, he's just out of control, and he's just doing what he wants to do, and mother is trying to do all she can. There's nobody there to actually put this child in line. That's a child that they know already. We're just gonna instantaneously kick him out of school, bring him back to next year, kick him out of school, bring him back to next year, kick him out of school. You know, after that third time, you know where he's heading.
Yeah.
So that's not to say that every parent or every household is failing on its own, but it's because if they don't have the resources and they're actually trying to survive, something is going to go missing.
Well, what resources do they need? I think you hit there. What resource? Here's the thing. What resource does, and I would love to debate this with anybody, what resource does a single mom need to be sure her child's in the best position to be successful? I would love to learn, what resource do you need? Because the thing that you said is that the child was bad. Child don't come out the womb being bad.
No, that's true.
Okay.
That's true.
Okay. Child's gonna be bad for what they see.
Okay.
My kids ain't bad because they know if they bad, I'm coming after them. Now, my kids make mistakes, but when they make mistakes, I'm there to light into them.
Right.
So
that's understandable.
So my kids don't go to school acting bad. Let's get that straight. Right. My kids do not go to school acting bad because they know the big bad wolf is coming.
That's true.
That's your problem there. If the young girls are getting pregnant and they're getting pregnant by dudes who will not father their child, that's your number one problem right there. Right there. And I know some people will come after me for saying that. That's your problem. Let's look at the timeline of when a child started acting bad. What's the timeline when children start acting bad?
Well,
what is the timeline?
Preschool? Look, it could be preschool, but what I'm saying to you is,
you know what? My son, he acted up one time in preschool. I told the teacher, if my son acts up, you text me and me that I show up. He did.
Right.
He ain't act up no more.
Right.
So that's what you have now. So you don't just grow up just growing up being bad. It doesn't. Kids gonna do what they see at home. My mother told me your biggest influence on your child's raising is what they see in that house. What are your kids seeing in the house that's going to make them act bad?
If you're living in an underserved community, which means that you don't have all the resources to be in a better place or to try to at least control the majority of that environment. So if that's what you're going to see, then that's what you become a product of. That's not saying that the parent is not actually doing his or her job. What that's saying is they're doing the best that they can for the place that they are.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So that doesn't
find resources.
But
Google.
Parents are being,
Google.
not being good parents.
Google. I'm not saying you're not being a good parent. Let me say that clearly. It's not being a good parent. Is if you want your child to do better, then research where can I find resources at. Google. Is there a true mentorship program that can help my son? I'm a single mom. I'm lacking certain skills. I'm in a low community. Is there resources out there that can help my son not fall into the same thing? The same prison pipeline. Is there anything out there? Is there a program that can help my son? Truly help my son? Or even a parent. That's one thing we started in our program. We started a parenting support group. Parenting support group. You come to the support group, you ask those questions. Mr. King, you ask, I'm living here. This is what I'm going through. I need help. Ask for help. Find resources that's out there to help you. That's how you can start. We've had parents in our program say, hey, I need help with tutoring. You know what? We got tutors here that's going to try to work hard. And your son, when he gets here, I'm here. Either someone else is here to be sure your son can begin to understand the reading and writing and the math and stuff like that. Put away them cell phones. Put away them cell phones and tablets and put a book in front of your child. How much time as a parent are you investing into your child? Because I would tell you this, Mr. King, that I didn't tell you earlier, that my dad taught me. Mm-hmm. When your child is born, you are second. Your job is to pour everything into your child to be sure your child's in the best position to be successful. So how many parents are pouring into their kids, or I got to go to the club tonight. I need my time. No, spend time with your child. Your child needs you more than anything else. And I'm sorry, you brought the wrong person on your podcast, because I'm telling you, this triggers people.
Mm-hmm. I understand.
But I'm saying it because I'm a father who decided when I have a child that some of the things I want to do, I put on the back burner because I want to be sure my child is in the best position to be successful.
Right.
So when the teacher calls and says, "Hey, Jordan is failing on this," my wife jumps right on it. What is he failing at? All right, we jump right on it. But go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I mean, this is what I'm simply saying. And so maybe you can see it from this point.
Okay.
Is that I honestly think that regardless of the case, because that's already set up, and they started tracking our young boys ever since 1970. Okay, so we know that that's happening. So
you tell me they tracking my two boys right now to go to prison.
Most definitely.
Who's tracking?
That started when they were in preschool. That's part of the system. That's what our governmental, local, county, state government, and federal governments do. Yeah. That's what they do. There's an actual database that's got these young boys' names in it. This is how they track them. This is how they know each and every move that they make. Mm-hmm. Now, what I'm saying to you is not every kid is gonna actually fall victim to that. My whole premise is this, is that the schools that like you and your wife and every other family, everybody that works, pay these taxes for, you have schools that they intentionally make failing schools where they don't resource the school properly. So if they had the proper teaching, then we wouldn't have that problem. But we can't have that problem because there's got to be one or the other. And so your point that you're making is more than valid. But I think the overall picture is that not everybody's going to make it through that because everybody's not made to pass through that kind of system. So you're bound to fall victim in some shape, form, or fashion that you're gonna be a part of that pipeline. Which is why I've had several guests that are part of education systems or programs like yours.
Yeah,
they actually have set up that. I know you've heard of this program. I don't know if they have it most here in these southern states, but the restorative justice program.
Yeah,
and they have that because I know, especially in the northeastern part of this country, going back across to the Midwest, that's what they do. They prevent. That's how they disrupt.
Yeah,
but that doesn't happen here in the South, in the Southeast.
Well, here's the thing. Hold up. Then here's what I'm gonna be controversial. Then,
okay,
all right. Some of these successful Black people who are very successful, who has money, to support programs that's really trying to do the groundwork. If you don't want to do it, there's enough successful Black people in the United States that can help one child. One child. But here's what I see on my end, and if I'm wrong, Mr. King, you tell me. I feel like we live in a selfish society. It's about me.
Well,
it's about me. It's about me. I've seen a lot of successful Black people.
You're right.
A lot of successful Black people who, and they've told me, that it's about me first.
Yes.
And I got to get mine. And if I made it, you should be able to make it.
Oh, see,
I've heard that. Hold up. So then I'll come back now. So this whole conversation is, what is Marcus Meneese? Marcus Meneese is a servant. So my point is that if there's a parent that reached out to me and says, my son is in dire need and I don't want him to go down the school to prison pipeline. All right, here's the steps that we're going to do to prevent that. But I need you to do the things I need you to do to be able to prevent that as well. I can't do it by myself. It's going to take both of us. Yeah. So if a parent is willing to do that, then I can help them. But if it's a parent who says, I'm using this person all the time, then you know what? You're the problem. You're the problem that's going to put your child down that wrong path. There are people out here will help you if you're going to put the work in. I will help a parent through the woods if you put the work in. You got to be disciplined on some things. You got to take time for your child for homework, even if it's 30 minutes.
Yes.
Because if you can spend 30 minutes on Facebook, then you can spend 30 minutes with your child. Cut Facebook off.
Yes.
Forget them folks on Facebook and say, you know what, we're going to cut the TV off. We're going to cut our tablets and phone off, and we're going to read to make sure you're in a good position, son. Let's see, can you comprehend what this book is telling you, son?
Right.
And I said, if you don't want to raise children, don't have kids. No, just don't have kids. Because when your child is born, if you're telling me what you're telling me, that Marcus Meneese Jr. is on a system that they think he's going to go to prison, well, they're going to be sadly mistaken.
Right. Exactly.
So parents, how much time are you involved in your child's homework? I used to run an after-school program. Some of these parents tell me they never looked at their child's folder. They told me that. We were doing the work here because we knew they weren't going to do the work when they got home.
Exactly.
So my whole thing is that as a parent, single parent, if you're in low income, Google, what do you need to be sure your son's in a good position to be successful? Do that. And then find decent programs that's going to help your son. There are a lot of free programs. My program's free. All I ask you just show up.
Right.
Show up. Get up on Saturday morning and make sure your child look decent. His breath ain't stinking and he smells good. How hard is that? Listen, if you want your child to be successful, if you don't, let them grow up to be hood, because the gangs and juveniles waiting on them.
That's true.
They are waiting on them.
That's part of the system.
My program is designed to prevent it. If I can prevent 2 boys that's 10 and 16, my oldest is 16.
Right.
Ain't never got in trouble at school.
Right.
But yeah, 2-parent home. You know why? Because me and my wife made a decision when we had children, we're going to be there for our kids. And then we let all the distraction go out.
Right.
So I can't go out and hang out sometime.
Right.
I got 18 years to get my son in the best position for life out of high school.
Right.
My parents are right now enjoying life now. They made sure that me and my brothers and my sister all graduated high school and went to college. And 3 of us have master's degrees. All right. My dad and my mom enjoying vacation. They enjoying things. Like, you know what? They say, you know what? Because we did the best we can do. And now they're enjoying their grandkids. Parents have to sacrifice for their kids. And I know it's tough as a single mom. I don't know fully what single moms go through. I've talked to enough over the past 12 years. When you have children, it's your job to sacrifice them, because your children are needing you. They need you. They didn't ask to be in this world. They didn't ask to come into this world. So if the man is not there, step up. Step up and say, you know what? I'm going to put my kid in all kind of stuff just to keep him busy. Because a busy child would avoid the streets. If you got him in football, basketball, I know some parents. I talked to a lady today. She said, son, I'm going to put you in this program, just to keep you out of trouble. She's a single mom. She's sacrificing. So I understand that it's a prison pipeline. And I think that if a parent truly sacrifices for their child and put them in the best position, I think there's a chance that they go to prison. But I guarantee you, Mr. King, if you sat down right now and went to prison, ask how many prisoners grew up with a father.
You know what? I mean, those are some odds that I actually would love to do some research on that, because that's a very valid question. But I will say this: right hand of God, just like you and your kids and so forth. I mean, I can't say that I've ever been a part of that system, but I can tell you this: that for the work that I do, just like the work that you do, because what you're doing is more important than people can ever imagine.
Thank you.
It's needed, and it's very much so needed, which is why that's what this platform is about. The same thing is to shine that light. We have to shine that light, and we have to make that difference. But I'm just saying to you that it's more than just the work that you do, that we've got to go really underground. If we're going to really totally cut that pipeline off, we've got to go underground. Because if we don't go underground, it's going to continue to do what it does, even though, let's say, out of every 100 boys, instead of getting 75 of them, if we can cut that down to at least 30, we don't want any, but if we can cut that down to 30, then we've made a significant change that actually cuts that whole system off. Because the prison system is built based on Black men.
It starts from, here's the thing, another thing controversial. It starts from responsibility. And if you're not responsible, then that's what you're going to start, the prison pipeline. It's about responsibility. And if you're not responsible, individuals that lay in the bed and produce a child, then you're the problem. So if you lay in the bed, you got men that don't want to be, if you know they sorry dudes, why would you produce a child with them? Why would you do it? So if no one's here in this world is perfect, no one's perfect. But if you lay with a man and you get pregnant and this child is born, it's your responsibility to be sure your child does not fall into that school to prison pipeline. It's not your responsibility. It's your responsibility not to do it. And I know it's hard to people to say that. I'm not sitting on your podcast as a perfect individual. I'm not sitting on a podcast as I'm the perfect parent. But I will say on your podcast to say that I work very hard to be able to be sure my two sons are in the best position to be successful. If that's recruiting, sacrificing my time, my youngest son goes to karate, and I take him to karate just for him to enjoy himself and stuff like that. I'm tired when I come home, and my son who ran cross country, and I will tell you this, and I have no problem saying it. My oldest son is autistic. He has a learning disability, but he reads on grade level. But I made sure that my son didn't feel like he was stupid. I always told him that you can be smart beyond measure. That I have a autistic son. He's 16, but can read on grade level and everything else. Me and my wife has worked extremely hard to be sure my oldest son is in the best position he could be. But it's because we have sacrificed. We sacrificed a lot of stuff that we wanted to do. That's what it takes as a parent, is you sacrifice for your children. It's not about you anymore. It's about making sure your child's in the best position. That's all I'm saying from this whole entire thing. Not trying to defend Black people who live in poverty or anything like that. Everybody has a chance to get out of what you want to get out of if you want to. If you want to get out of debt, you will work hard to find ways to get out of debt. You're going to find a coach, so somebody's going to help you get out of debt. And then that coach, if you listen to the coach the right way, you're not going to be in debt. That means you got to sacrifice from buying stuff and stop trying to be like everybody else. Be yourself. Be yourself.
Right.
Don't grade yourself to what somebody else is doing. I care less what people do on Facebook. I honestly care. I don't care if you went to a party. Why do I care you went to a party? I do not spend time much on Facebook.
Right.
I post what I work and I've done. If you like it, great. If you don't, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I don't measure myself to what other people do in their mentorship program.
Mm-hmm.
If you need my services, I'm here. If another program can help your son, let that program help your son.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I tell parents. But I've given my life to helping young people. And when I see where the problem starts, it's just like me as a dad. Let's bring it home real quick. I'm a dad. I'm a father.
Mm-hmm.
Say I go out here and I cheat on my wife and I get a woman pregnant.
Oh.
Now you've caused a problem.
Mm-hmm.
That child's not going to grow up in a two-parent home, is it?
Nope.
Now this single mom got to go find a way to survive, make me another guy who could put their hands on my child. Look at Adrian Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
His child was killed by his baby mama's boyfriend. All I'm saying is that when a child is brought into this world, you have to do your best to be sure your child's in the best position. There are plenty of athletes and success stories of single mamas who have sacrificed, and I can name some of them off to you right now. That's in the NFL right now. Single moms. Look at the NFL draft sometime. How many single moms? How many dads? So the school to prison pipeline, I've never really got into it. I really never believed it. I think that a lot of these issues that's going on in America can be prevented. You could prevent a child from going to prison if you put them in the best position. Get around real men who's going to put them in position, who's going to be stern and put them in position. And the more good exposure that a young man can get and see that, hey, there's another world outside of here, then the better that young man's going to work hard to try to get there. Once they see it, they got to see there's another world out here. I've heard great people who was poor. They say, you know what? I was exposed to this and it changed my life. And I wanted to become this. And I didn't want to go. I didn't want to see. I saw my brothers go down this path and I wanted to be the one to be successful. Marcus Smart from the Boston, who played for LA now, said the same thing. He said, my life is messed up. My life is messed up, but you're the one that's going to do right. People want to do right. You want to do right. But man, that temptation out there is tough. It's tough. The temptation. Crap, it's tough on me. Crap. I see beautiful women all the time. I do. I'm in this business with single moms. That's cold-blooded.
Right.
But if I make the move and mess them up, it affects the child. I got to be disciplined. I got to go home and hug my wife a bit tighter. Crap. If I'm tempted, that's the truth. But don't nobody want to say that truth. So I know you was going down the path, so let me be quiet because I can go all night. But I'm just telling you, man, a lot of stuff can be prevented.
Yes, well, no, I don't disagree with you on that. I don't disagree with you on that.
Don't. I just know in my mind the things I say triggers people. That's why people listen to the podcast. But I'm gonna tell you that I can't tell you something that I'm not living.
Right.
I can't tell you something I'm not living.
Right.
And some of these people don't have an autistic child as well. I mean, it's tough.
Right.
It's tough to see my son is not like everybody else. But you know what? I told my son, you can still be who you want to be because you're smart enough. But it takes discipline. So my son can't be on his cell phone all the time. He got to be there reading books, reading, and me sitting there with him tutoring. He has a tutor. You know what I meant while he's tutoring? I'm right there listening to that tutor. So when we get through, we're going to keep working on what that tutor. I ain't going to say, all right, go to your tutor and go on. I'm going to sit there and listen. But that's me because I want my son to be in the best because you know why, Mr. King? What I'm doing now, my son already said, Dad, I want to be just like you. I want to raise my kids like you raised us. He already told me. I told my daddy that. But I was lucky. I'm one of the small percentage of people who had a great father, great dad, who trained me. I'm using my skills to train your child to become the man he needs to be and live out the purpose that God has for him. And if it's MBA, if it's a doctor, or if it's this, I want your son to say he is going to be one that's not going to go to prison.
Right.
Not going to be the one that goes to juvenile. Because you don't have to go. I've never been to juvie.
Right.
I've never been to jail. You know why? My daddy worked us to death. My dad said, I'm going to work y'all so hard, you too tired to get in trouble. And he did. And I was very disciplined by him. So some people going to listen to this podcast with you and say, hey, I like it. I'm going to say this joke. I'm not arrogant. I'm a servant. I would tell anybody who says negative about Marcus, come do my job. Come do this mentorship that
I don't think anybody's going to say that because, like I said, the work that you do is very, very important. And you are a very important and influential person in your community. I mean, the work that you're doing is second to none.
Thank you.
I mean, that's period. And you can't do nothing but say, I want to package this and I want to keep selling it. That's how important it is, really.
Yeah. Thank you.
I mean, that's real. You know, I'm just saying, you know, I just wanted to show you, put this in a different perspective for you, you know, to maybe have you like open up a little bit just to understand that not every kid is going to always make it the way we want them to.
I agree with that.
You know, because I mean, there are some kids that have everything that's needed. But they still just decide, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to go do this because I want to.
Yeah.
That ain't bad parenting. That's on that child with the decisions that he or she is making. You know, when it comes back to the parents, because people say, oh, you're not a good parent. No. But that's not the case. You know?
No, my mom said it clearly. My mom said things clearly to us. She says, I raised y'all on my podcast. If you go back to my mother's podcast, she says, I raised y'all up to 18, that when you turn 18, you knew right from wrong. You knew right from wrong. If you choose to go do wrong, it's not on the parents. It's on you. But I've always learned that you control your decisions. God controls the consequences. You control, I can go out here and rob somebody right now. That's my choice. But you know what? There's going to come consequences.
Yes, exactly.
So that's what I teach. You can go ahead and do what you want. I tell my boys, you want to go keep sagging your pants, and when you're a stereotype, don't blame the white man. Blame yourself. Because if you pull your pants up and put a belt on, look like a young man, you won't be stereotyped all the time.
Right.
Now, you can be stereotyped some because you're black. But parents should teach your children how to handle that, how to deal with racism, how to deal with these things. Teach them. And if you don't know it, find somebody who can teach them the right way. Right. There are plenty of great teachers out here who can teach right from wrong. And so I guess I get ruffled when people talk about the school to prison pipeline, because I get mad because I'm like, I had two. Now, if I had no children, you could blast me all day. I have two sons. That if I go left, my kid's gonna go left. If I leave my wife tomorrow and says I got me a younger 23-year-old, she makes me feel young, I'm leaving y'all. You know, my kids could go left.
Yeah, but I mean, they could, but they're not. And see,
my youngest is very smart. If I wasn't there for him, he could easily go left at 10 years old, because he's gonna be angry and say, why is dad not there? Why doesn't dad love me? Dad used to be there for me. I got a kid in my program who went through that. His dad cheated on his mama, got another woman pregnant, and left him and his sister and his mama for the younger woman. I've seen it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But you know what? The mom put him in my program. And once I knew everything about him, I was hard on that kid. And that kid got in trouble at school. Who did his mama call? Marcus, I need you. My son about to get kicked out of this all-white Christian school. Drove right to that school. I told the principal, let me see this young man before you talk to him. Because if he act up, I'm going to act up. And then I'm going to get in trouble. Took the young man in the room. I said, go get your stuff. It's time to go. What's going on? I said, I told you, if you run your mouth, these folks going to put you out of here. They putting you out. Get your stuff. Let's go. And when we go in this office, if you make one wrong move, I'm going to jail. You bet not make a move. That kid sat there like he was quiet. Went out to eat. went to another school. He started acting up again. His mama texted me. I said, take me to the nearest restaurant. Let me see him right now. And I looked at him in the eye. I said, your mom told me I can come after you. Make a mother move at school again. That boy's a straight A student right now. Plays football and basketball. Texts me all the time. Text him, hey son. He texted me the other day. I made all country and I made all state in football. Proud of you, son. If you got a ceremony, tell me, I'll be there for you. Text me last night. Hey, Mr. Mark, I'm so sorry I can't come to the mentorship program. I got to go do some volunteer work. I said, go do the volunteer work. I hope to see you next week at our session. Love you, son. That helps that young man know I'm still mad my daddy did what he's done, but I got a man that loves me and want to treat me like I'm his own son. And I told him, I said, you're my son. I'm going to make sure you're always good. I'm going to help you till you get 18. That's what a good mentor does.
Right.
That boy, his mama is working hard. He's a straight A student along with his sisters, A and B student. No school to prison pipelines. She's a single mama, hustling and everything else, Mr. King. But she said, I found a mentor who really cares about my son and make sure my son is in a good position. I went to all this home football game. Every time I looked at stand, I was there. And when he talked to me, I said, look, don't pick up around your mama. I said, you take care of your mama, but don't get smart with her no more. Well, I'm coming. And I said, you got to deal with me. So I said, well, you know what? That's me. I'm a dad. I got that dad mode in me. But I've helped, man, I don't know how many kids I've helped this way. I can't even give you the number of kids I helped this way. But you know what? I have kids who help this way and go to another program. But you know what? The seed that I put in them, they'll never forget it.
Right. Exactly. Because
they'll see me years from now and say, I got kids see me now, man. I see kids I can't even remember I've talked to. Mr. Marcus, I'm doing this now because of you. I've had kids tell me that. Yeah. But like again, Mr. King, I don't do this for publicity. And I do this because, again, it's my God-given purpose.
Right.
And it's a purpose to be a program that can prevent. I want my program to prevent your child from going down a bad road because it can be done. But it takes work. It takes getting in the mud and it takes scrapping in that mud. That's what my program does. That's what I've been doing for 25 years of my life. And I love it every day. And I want to continue to try to make change in this world for young men.
And I asked when we talked earlier, and I was telling you that we do Black History 365. And I asked you who was the most influential person in your life and career. You told me that it was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Yeah. So can you tell us why is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. the most influential figure in your life?
Dr. King served. Dr. King served people. And Dr. King went through a lot of stuff, a lot of problems trying to help people, especially us Black folks. Dr. King had people that turned on him. I had to learn that because it happened to me. And Dr. King died trying to make people have a better life.
Yep.
How many people are willing to die to help somebody have a better life? As some of these influential Black folks is really popular, how many of them will die and serve to help somebody?
See, look, that's a whole nother show. I have to get you on the show.
They ain't gonna do it. They're not gonna do it. Dr. King, if you look at his life, he came from a middle-class home, great father, great mother. But something triggered him because he saw a problem. He saw a problem and he wanted to do something to change the problem. Dr. King says, if you see a problem, you turn a blind eye from that problem, you're worse than an infidel. Because you saw it and you could make change to do it. So that's why Dr. King's the most influential person in my life. I've read tons of books of Dr. King, how he operated, things he did. Dr. King was not perfect. But are we going to look at imperfections, or are you going to look that you can go to a restaurant and eat with white people all the time now? Somebody had to make that happen. So when we go to restaurants and it's fancy and it's nice and it's black and white, every time I go in the bathroom and wash my hands and I see a white person wash their hands right beside me, I said somebody died for me to have that opportunity. That didn't happen overnight. Somebody died. So that's my most influential person is Dr. King.
Final question for you. What specific teachings of Dr. King's do you apply in your work?
Serve people. Dr. King served people. I love serving people. We giving out Thanksgiving turkeys next month to families here in the community. And I love doing that. I love putting turkeys in people's cars and smiling at them saying, God bless you. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Do you need a warm coat? We got warm coats in the gym. Walk in the gym and grab you a coat. I serve. It's not about Marcus. I'm just a regular individual dude who's half crazy sometimes, but I love helping people. But that's who I am. If I learned from Dr. King, Dr. King served, man. He served till God took him home. And I look for people who have that same kind of energy that says, you know what? God has blessed me with a good life. I can at least help one person out. I say, if we had the last thing, we wouldn't have a school to prison pipeline if one black man took care of a black child. If every black man just took care of one child in your life, help one black kid have a shot at a better life. If God has blessed you to have a good life, you can go to a nice neighborhood, you can go home and have a beautiful home, beautiful life. Could you help one young man have a shot at a better life? And if you can do that, you're living out your God-given purpose. If you can't do that, then I'm going to say what my mama said, you selfish. You selfish because you only think about you. Bless others because people need help, just like we said today. School, prison, people need help, especially with the economy and everything that's going on in this country. People need help. So that's what I'm doing in my life. Even though it's not the most prettiest things that goes on, I don't get the best financial rewards out of it. But when I leave here, I can go home and say, you know what? I helped a few young men today. I can go in the refrigerator and grab something to eat, and I can relax and watch a little football. But if any of my boys need Mr. Marcus this afternoon, they know I will come see after them. So that's what I'm stronger than my father.
So in closing, what are some words of wisdom that you like to leave with our audience? Tell them how they can connect with you on social media. Tell them about your website. All of those good things.
Any words of wisdom is if parents are struggling, I would say get on your phone and Google and find resources that can help your child, boy or girl. There are great boys and girl programs out here that can help your child become successful. You don't have to do this work alone. Find a program that's sincere about helping your child be successful, and then we can avoid this school to prison pipeline. It can be done. If you want to find me, just visit our website here in Nashville at strongerthanmyfather.org. And I'm on social, all my programs on social media as Stronger Than My Father. My personal YouTube, Instagram is Marcus_Meneese, Meneese. You can see all the work that I'm doing. I don't post about my personal life. I tell you up front. You want to dig about Marcus, you're going to have to call me. But I do share the work that I'm doing and share the work as a father and a husband. That's what I do. And Mr. King, I appreciate you connecting me on LinkedIn and finding me. I hope your audience ain't mad at me, but I like to tell the truth about what I feel. And because I am out here doing hands-on work with these young men. So we've been working ever since 9:30 this morning. And now my boys at the barbershop. That's why you see me kind of looking at my barber like, where you at, man? Because I get my boys haircut every other weekend. And I really enjoy that, man. When they get their haircut, God, I enjoy it. And then I take them to the restaurant across and I'm spending time with my sons because eventually, Mr. King, they're going to be grown. And my baby's going to be grown. They're going to be grown. And I'm going to be like, where's my boys? Yep. So I'm enjoying this time with my boys. Me and my wife, we still do our date nights. We still go hang out. My oldest can watch the youngest now. So me and my wife go out more often now. So, but you know what I tell you this, Mr. King, my oldest, if my youngest do anything wrong, my oldest calling me on the spot. That's why my youngest gonna get in trouble because he already know his brother gonna tell his daddy.
Mm-hmm.
And his brother know when I come home, I'm coming after you.
Mm-hmm.
So, but thank you, man. Thank you for the opportunity. I hope I said something to your audience that can help them in any kind of way, man. I love doing podcasting, and I love being guests on other people's podcasts. So if they want me on their podcast, just reach out to me by Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. I would love to be a guest on your podcast.
Well, I appreciate you for being here. This was truly a great show and definitely a great experience to where I'm sure that there are a lot of things that are up for question. This is what this platform is about, because there is not truly ever going to be one right answer.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a way and an opinion of what they see things and how they see things. That's the important thing about life in general. And
Mm-hmm.
again, as I say, the work that you do is just phenomenal. This is what our people need to see, but also it's like when people are doing this work that you're doing, people need to know who you are. People need to know that this program that you're running and how you're helping these young people, that they want to be a part of it. They definitely reach out to be a part of it, and they learn that there's so much into life that they have got to be able to apply. This is why you and yourself are so special, that I want to make sure that we do whatever is necessary to not only amplify your voice, but to amplify your organization. Because again, it's like there is a resource, and you're that resource that they need to be reaching out to.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just want to thank you again. I want to thank the audience for joining us here on this special Saturday. And we will see you guys Monday evening for another episode of America in Black and White, where we will continue to color conversations on the canvas of America. You guys have a great evening, great weekend, and enjoy yourself. And we will see you on Monday. Marcus, we definitely got to have you back, so I'll be reaching out to you.
Call me anytime, Mr. King. I'll be here. And I looked at your cup. You're a diehard Steelers fan, so we're gonna be best friends. I'm a diehard Steelers fan as well.
That's
So
what's up. All about.
I know we meant to do this podcast because, like I said, I'm a diehard Steelers fan.
Well, the game tomorrow night.
Yeah.
The 1933 jersey when the Steelers first debuted in the NFL, when they were the Pittsburgh Pirates before they became the Steelers. They're going to be wearing that jersey, and that jersey is actually going to become their main jersey next season.
Whoa! I didn't know that. Wow! Wow! So
Yes.
yeah. I'm gonna be watching it tomorrow. My oldest son, I don't have a lot of patience when it comes to football. If the Steelers down by 14, I'm already going to bed. I'm like, I just see the score tomorrow. If it's competitive, I'll watch it. But if they're losing bad, my oldest son, he will watch it to the last second.
So
if he's down there screaming, then I know we come back and I may watch it again. But I just can't stand when we're getting beat, man. Because Pittsburgh is an up and down team.
Well, believe me, I post and write about them a whole lot. And so,
well, I would definitely check it out. And man, thank you so much for having me, man. This has been enjoyable. I really enjoyed it. Sorry I couldn't get on yesterday, but I really, really enjoyed today. And it really helped because we just got through. I was taking a young man back home and I wanted to go to Starbucks. And I said, but if I go to Starbucks, I'm going to be late for this show. So I says, Mark, gut it out. No Starbucks. Hurry up and get here on time. And I got here just in time to clock in, man. But this young man needed to ride home. I said, I got you. Get in the car. Let's go. That's why I got a lot of miles on my car, man. I've taken kids everywhere, man. But, it's just an opportunity. And like I said, it's not a lot of people who really takes this job serious. I take it serious. That's why I don't have a lot of guys work with me. I'm like, if you ain't serious, don't show up.
Exactly.
Because these kids, man, they're really longing, yearning for help. And I want to be sure that our program do that. So thank you so much. I'm going to try to get to the barbershop and see my boys.
Yes, sir. And so again, I'll be reaching out to you, and I want to thank you again.
All right. Thanks for your time. And God bless you, man. Stay safe.